That is the heart and soul of what America is. It is the promise of America. That all of us are going to make certain that our kids have a better life. That's why my dad went in that mill every day for 36 years. I still remember when I was young, because my father never got to go to college, and he was trying to better himself. I remember coming down in the morning, early in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and seeing my dad sit in front of the television, taking instructional courses on public television, trying to do better in the mill, so he could have a better job in the mill. These are the people that I grew up with. And these are the people that deserve somebody to fight for. You know, I grew up like a lot of you. I grew up in tough neighborhoods, in mill villages and in mill towns. I still remember when I was young. I was about 4 or 5 years old. I got into a fight. We fought a lot in those days. I got into a fight, came home bloody, and my father set me down, bloody, teary. My father set me down, and he said, "Listen, son, don't ever start a fight. I don't want to hear that you're out there starting fights. But you never, ever walk away from a fight. And tomorrow, I want you to go out there. I want you to go out there tomorrow. I want you to go out there tomorrow, and I want you to find that kid who kicked your butt, and I want you to kick his butt. And the next day, I want you to fight with everything you've got. And I want you to know, after the beginning, I was fighting for myself, or literally for survival, for self-preservation. But then I spent 20 years in courtrooms doing the same thing for people just like you. And I listen to these stories from people who say, well, we're going to sit at the table with drug companies, insurance companies, oil companies, and they're going to give their power to us. They'll just give it away. Listen, I know these people. I spent 20 years in courtrooms battling, fighting. And it's just like me saying, I'm going to walk into the courtroom with some child that I represent, which is, I did a lot. And on the other side of the army of corporate lawyers and all the money in the world arrayed behind them. And I just walk over to them and say, you know, why don't you just give us what we want? We're good people. We're nice. We're decent people. Why don't you just give us what we want? They would have laughed out loud at me. I'll tell you when they gave us what we want. When we won, they gave us what we want. In front of us. We have an epic fight, and that epic fight is for the promise of America. That fight is for the future of our children and for their children. And the question is, are we ready for it? Do we have what it takes to make this system work for everybody, to make this democracy work for everybody, to get the power out of the hands of the few and put that power in the hands of the many? Because if we don't, we will not have universal health care. We will not attack global warming. I mean, you think about this for a minute. America's trade policy. Why do we have trade fields like NAFTA and CAFTA that have enriched the profits of big corporations at the same time that millions of Americans have lost their jobs? There's a very simple answer for that. Because big corporate America was for it. Why don't we have universal health care? Because drug companies and insurance companies were against it. Why don't we have cheaper prescription drugs? Because the drug companies and their lobby are against it. Why do we have what's the name of it? What's the name of it? Blackwater. Didn't think of that. Blackwater. I was going to say black widow. Why don't we have Blackwater? Why don't we have Blackwater hiring paid mercenaries to roam around in Iraq, making 10 times what our men and women in uniform make? Why do we have billion-dollar, no-bid contracts for Halliburton, Cheney's old company in Iraq? Yeah. We have to take this democracy back. We have to take I listened to the reports about corporate profits being at record highs. ExxonMobil, profits at record numbers, many, many billions of dollars. That the CEO of one of the largest health insurance companies in America makes hundreds of millions of dollars. Corporations' profits at record levels. The richest Americans getting richer. In the last 20 to 25 years, the top 1% control of the percentage of income has doubled. Doubled in America. They take twice as much of America's income as they did 20 to 25 years ago. And I listen to all those reports and all those statistics, and I think about 47 million people who, if they wake up in the middle of the night with a sick child, are going to have to go to the emergency room and beg for health care. And I think about 37 million Americans who wake up every single day literally worried about feeding and clothing their children. I met some of those families just this morning. I met a woman in Kansas City a year and a half ago, who told me the story of working. She worked full-time, by the way. Full-time. And having to decide whether to pay her heating bill or to pay for the food and rent for her children. And so she decided what they do is give up the heat. And then she told me the story about wrapping her children in as many coats as she could find. I can't remember, she had 4 or 5 kids. In as many coats as she could find, putting them under as many blankets as they could find, and putting them to bed. And getting them up in the morning, hoping that they'd be okay. And when she sent them off to school, what she told them was, please, don't tell anybody at school what we're doing here, because they'll come and take it away from you. The United States of America is better than this. Last year we had 35 million people in America, roughly the population of California, go hungry. So 35 million people hungry in America. Tonight, there will be 200,000 men and women who wore the uniform of the United States of America, veterans, who go to sleep under bridges and on grass. All while corporate America's profits are going through the roof. It is time for us to do something about this. It is time for us to rise up as a people. It is time for us to rise up as a people and say, we're going to do better than this. We're going to do better for our children. We're going to do better for our grandchildren. Because every single time we speak for 200,000 veterans who are homeless, America rises. Every time we speak up for 47 million Americans who have no health care coverage, America rises. When we speak up for 35 million Americans who went hungry last year, America rises. When we speak up for the kind of women that we saw this morning in the shelter, wonderful, sweet women who love their children dearly, when we speak up for them with passion and energy and soul, America rises. When we speak up for James Lowe and millions like him who live every single day in the darkness of America because Washington cannot see them, America rises. We, starting right here in Iowa on January 3rd, for the middle class, for those who are struggling, those who are suffering, those who deserve a better life. We're going to start it right here on our cold January night in Iowa. And when the caucus goers in Iowa rise up, there's going to be a rising and a wave that goes across America that absolutely nobody can stop. And I learned a hard lesson a few years ago. A woman that came up to me after an election and she said, you know, Edwards, I liked you. I would have voted for you, but you never asked me. I will never make that mistake again. I'm asking everyone who can hear my voice now to show up on January the 3rd and caucus for me, to join in. And I'll make you one last promise. If you and 5 of your friends go to the caucuses on January the 3rd and you're willing to stand up for me and you're willing to caucus for me, what I'll do for you is I'm going to give you your Democratic Party back. I'm going to give you